Hey everyone, Nick Diribert is here teaching you financial modeling. And today I'm here to talk to you about what are the tools and skills that we're using in this class, Python and Excel. Why did I choose them for the course, and why do I think that they're the most appropriate tools and skills to learn for financial modeling? So let's go ahead and jump in. So, um, you know, a lot of people, do financial modeling primarily just in Excel, but I've chosen to use Python in this class. So why are we going after Python as a tool to use? So, um, if you want to do anything more advanced in financial modeling, you have to go to programming. There's no way to be able to implement some of the intricacies of the detailed situations of the models that we're building without going to programming. So, it becomes Excel alone is not going to be enough. You have to go to some kind of programming. Now, Excel does have its built-in language VBA, so that's another option, but we'll talk about why I believe Python is a better choice to learn as a language for your financial modeling. So why Python out of programming languages? So I think this comic here illustrates things well about kind of the general feeling about Python in the programming community. So you can pause the video to read that, but the main idea here is just that it's pretty easy to pick up Python. It doesn't require a lot of structure, a lot of knowledge of computer science concepts or anything like that to be able to complete some simple tasks. You just need very little code to do that, very little structure, and so that makes it quite a bit easier for people to get started with Python than with other programming languages. And this comic also, kind of highlights the flexibility and power of Python, that there's this rich ecosystem of open source packages that you can use, which kind of supercharge the capabilities of Python. So it's not like Excel, where Microsoft develops Excel, so it's whatever features Microsoft is able to build into Excel are the ones that you can use. There are plugins, but there's not a whole ton of them. Whereas Python, at its core, is an open source language built by the community. And then there's also a community of packages around Python which extend the capabilities of Python. And to date, there are over 250,000 different packages that you can add to Python, just free and open source out there waiting for you to use. And so there's a ton of stuff that you can do. The flexibility is enormous with Python, the flexibility and the capabilities. Now, why for finance specifically? Again, I kind of hit it on it already, but out of the mainstream programming languages that are out there, it's definitely the easiest to learn because of that lack of structure needed in a lot of cases. And it's already growing very quickly in the finance industry. It's definitely becoming the top programming language in the financial industry, and definitely for financial modelers. So you won't be alone when you learn Python. And I mentioned these 250,000 packages that are out there that make your life so much easier to do all sorts of different things. Learning Python is going to be useful for you, for many things outside of this course and financial modeling. So, some of the other categories where Python definitely excels are, data science, doing all kinds of analysis and visualization of data. Algorithmic trading. You can build your own little trading bots which execute strategies for you. scripting. So, completing some kind of automation kind of tasks of just making your life easier. Um, Devices, like Internet of Things, IoT devices, Python is on those as well. Um, Web development, certainly, Python is used extensively in the web. Um, some very popular sites are built on it, such as, Instagram is a good example, built totally on Python. Um, Web scraping is about, collecting data from websites in an automated fashion. So, a website may have 3,000 different pages that you want to collect data from. You can automate all of that with Python. And actually, even these slides that you're viewing right now, I generated with Python. And all of the like documents and everything in the course, I'm generating all of those with Python. And this is a very small list compared to the capabilities. These were just some of the categories that I wanted to highlight. But the high level is, you learn Python and you're able to go in all these different directions should you want to go to them. Versus, we'll talk more about VBA, but that kind of constrains the amount of choices that you have. Another great thing about Python is it is the fastest growing programming language, and depending on the ranking, it's between 1 and 3 on all of the rankings. And within the next couple of years, it's going to be number 1 on all the rankings because it is growing so much faster than the other top programming languages. So you're not alone with adopting Python. So many people are doing it around the world, and it will be the world's number 1 programming language very soon by all measures. So some more advantages of Python. I mentioned it already, but it's completely open source. That means it's totally free. That means that even the code that creates Python, that creates the language, as well as creates all these packages, this extra functionality that we're going to add to Python, all that source code is just out there and able for you to use. So if you really like a project, a package that's out there, but you really wish it had some other feature, you can potentially just take that code and you can add that feature yourself because that's all completely free and open. And you could contribute that back to the library and maybe they'll add it as a feature for everybody. So, it's a whole community of people that come together kind of in their free time to develop these tools that everybody in the world can use. And one of the biggest focuses of the Python language is to make it as readable as possible. So it's almost like just reading English. There's not a whole lot of special symbols or crazy characters or anything in there. It uses white space rather than curly braces and things like that. And so it looks very clean. It's easy, even if you're not a Python programmer, to kind of read it and understand what's going on. So the readability is huge for beginners, as well as just saving time over time, being able to look at someone's code and just understand it fairly easily. And going along with the flexibility of Python, so it's there are a lot of features in Python, and so it can grow to the point where a lot of experts do use Python as their primary language because it has all the kind of features that they would want, being programming experts. But you're not required to use all of those features. You can use as little as you want to use. So, it's easy for beginners to pick it up. You don't have to have all this structure that is important for, building large-scale applications. You can just write a couple lines of code and get something done. But it does allow you to also use all that structure if you want to go and build something big. So, You can kind of start small with it, and over time you can add more and more things which improve your process. And another nice feature of Python, this is by way of one of these packages that we can add to extend the functionality. So there's a deep integration of Python with Excel. We can run Python code and make Excel do things, and we can run Python code from within Excel. So the applications of that will become much more clear as we get into the course. But basically, you can use Python instead of VBA. You don't even have to worry about VBA. You can do all the same things as VBA. But it's also Python. You can use it for other things after you've learned it. So what's the drawback of using Python? Well, here I think is the biggest drawback, and this is not unique to Python. It is just the nature of going to programming over just using basic Excel, that it's inherently text-based, and inherently there's no interface to using it, right? Like you type some text and you might get some text as the output. So you just look here, you stare at the terminal. That's probably intimidating for a lot of people. But this is kind of where Python lives, as well as any other programming language. Now we are going to talk about things that have been built on top of Python that are going to make it nicer to use. We're not actually really going to be working in a terminal primarily. We're going to use what's called Jupyter as a project, which gives a nice interface to Python. But still, at its core, it's just a text thing. And so that can be a bit of a shell shock for people that are used to just using Excel. You just hit, okay, I got to type text now to do things. What is going on? So no graphical interface is basically what I'm getting at there. Now I say by default because there are interfaces that you can add and use, and we're going to use Jupyter. But by default, you're just working with text. Another disadvantage is, for the most part, people know Excel. You can kind of expect that pretty much anyone you're working with in a business environment is going to have a basic working knowledge of Excel at a minimum. But that is not there for Python yet. I think we're going in that direction. I think more and more people are going to know how to program in Python over time. But as of now, still it's a minority of people who actually know how to use Python. So that can make it a little more difficult to work with other people if you've programmed your model in Python and then your boss says, hey, you two need to work together, but this other person doesn't know any Python. That's going to be difficult for them to come and work on your model. And somewhat going along with, well, you've just got text to work with, it can be a little bit harder to get started on a project. It's definitely more open-ended. You can just sit there staring at the blank editor, like what do I type now? Where do I go first? But that just comes with experience. The more that you work with it, the more that you're going to know what you should do. So definitely by the end of this course, you'll not be feeling that pain so much, and you'll have a good idea how to get started on any given project. So why not use VBA? I mean, that's already built in to Excel. We're already talking about how everybody uses Excel, so why not just use the thing that's already there to do our programming, right? So the biggest thing I think here is highlighted by this picture, or maybe the second biggest thing, is that it's kind of hard to read. It doesn't have nearly as much of a focus on readability as Python does. you know, just looking at this code is kind of hard to understand what's going on. So that readability, you know, it's going to cost you time in terms of, you know, if you have to work on someone else's code, you've got to go and understand all this stuff. And it's even going to be difficult for yourself when you come back to an old project and you think, what is going on here? Now I have to understand my code again. It's just more difficult to read. But, you know, just as important, maybe more important, is that, you know, VBA, you can automate all sorts of stuff in Microsoft Office. So it's not just Excel. You can do Word, you can do PowerPoint, but it's Microsoft Office only, right? You're not going to go and build Instagram with VBA. You're not going to go and do actual data science and analysis and all these things with VBA unless you know, really want to torture yourself. And so by learning Python, which is even easier to learn than VBA, then you have so many more capabilities than if you had just learned VBA instead. And you know, we mentioned a little bit earlier that Python can basically be a VBA replacement in Excel. So Python can do everything that VBA can. It even, you know, has a package which, you know, gives all the functionality of VBA, but it can do so much more. And VBA can just do VBA. So why spend time focusing on, you know, just a subset of what Python can do and spend even longer to learn that subset as VBA when you could just learn Python instead? And then, you know, why is this not just 100% Python course? Why are we using Excel as well? So Excel is everywhere. Everyone knows how to use Excel, as I said, and, you know, so much of the data that you would work with in any organization is stored in Excel spreadsheets. So it's kind of hard to get away from Excel, and it's ubiquitous. And then there are some, you know, advantages just on the nature of the tool. You know, it's a very visual experience using Excel, right? You do something and you see the result of that immediately. So that can make it quicker to kind of learn how to use it and do some simple things. But, you know, when you want to go and do something complicated, then you start to run into difficulties in Excel. And, you know, looking at a particular value in Excel is really easy. You just click on the cell, right? And, you know, you can trace back the dependencies of that cell and everything. So it's pretty easy to look at and figure out what's going on in one particular area of an Excel spreadsheet. But there are certainly disadvantages with Excel. So, you know, those who have built complicated things in Excel before probably, you know, this picture probably dredges up some feelings for you. That, you know, as you add more and more worksheets that are all linked together, it all just starts to become complicated and unwieldy. You might have multiple workbooks that are referencing each other. It's not clear, you know, where everything starts, where everything ends. Everything is just kind of linked together in various ways. And so it's really hard to understand, you know, I have a particular number here. What is the whole process that got me there? Was it, you know, reference from another calculation, which referenced the data from another workbook? Which, you know, so it can be difficult, you know, at a high level view to understand what's going on in a complicated Excel model. And part of why that's the case is because, you know, the code, the formulas that you're putting into the cells, and the view, the kind of the what you're seeing, the output of the cells, it's all mixed together, right? You see just the output normally. You only see the code or formula if you click into a cell, so that the code is inherently hidden, and you kind of have to go digging to understand where a particular value came from. But it becomes even worse as soon as you start layering in VBA, because it's not that bad to, look at a cell, look at what cells it's referencing, and kind of just follow back until you get to the raw inputs, and then you can understand the whole process that produced this output. But as soon as you layer on VBA, that's just this whole other separate thing just going on in the background, and you're only going to know that VBA is going on at all if you go into the VBA editor and then you start to read that code, and then look at the code and understand where it's being applied in relation to all the cell formulas and everything. And so it's kind of this invisible background thing that can do things that you're not expecting. And so having both the cell formulas and VBA going on in the background can make it very confusing to understand the exact process that goes from inputs to outputs. It's also quite easy to make a certain type of mistake in Excel. Maybe because so much of Excel, you're gonna like drag to auto complete things to do the same thing for every row or every column. And then you accidentally just type something in one of those cells and it overwrites what you had there. And it can be really easy to miss that, especially if you have thousands of cells going on. There's just one of them which is different. And so those kinds of mistakes can be very, very difficult to track down. Whereas it would be harder to make that kind of mistake in a programming language, as things are generally more generally applied. And certain tasks which are really simple to do in Python become very complex in Excel, and we'll definitely look at examples of those in the course. And that is, the primary reason is that of going to a programming language is Excel is just not going to be able to accomplish everything that we want to do. So you got to go to a programming language, VBA or some other language, and we're choosing Python for all of the reasons mentioned. So that's the tools and skills that we are covering in this course, and why we're focusing on these rather than some of the other options that are out there. So next time we will look at how to get Python installed on your machine, and that will conclude our introduction segment of the course. So thanks for listening, and see you next time.